So here is Maisie. We are working on more of her lure sits and downs. I know I touched a little bit on it last update, but this update we just wanted to work on it a little bit more in a video. Next week she will be completely off that lure, is what I'm hoping. Of course, sometimes it doesn't work out the way you think it's going to, but I have good hope for Maisie and that she will be off that lure. She's doing very well with her training. She went on lots of field trips this week. She had a super fun time. I will send you pictures of her in some people's arms as well. She did fantastic. She loved it. She loved getting snuggles. She loved playing with them. So another thing about those sits and downs is when they're sitting, I don't want them batting at me, or I don't want her batting at me. So when she bats at me, I'm going to tell her and give that treat when all 4 feet are on the ground. So 4 on the floor, that's when I give that reward. I don't want to give it to her when she's batting at me because I don't want to promote that batting. I want her to know that she does not need to do that to get the treat. And it's almost like getting hit by your puppy. Some people take offense to that, especially at being a big dog. Sometimes it's hurtful with those nails that they got on their little paws. So just telling her when she's batting at me. Sometimes I forget, as you can see. Sometimes I give the treat even though she's batting at me, but I'm trying my best to make sure I correct it or just not give that treat until she's batting at me. Just like that. I waited until she wasn't batting at me. And then that down, I don't want her nibbling on my fingers, only that treat that's in my hand. So just telling her if she goes to nibble on my fingers. So there I gave her the hand signal and she went into that sit. So that's what I'm kind of teaching her, is lower to her level, telling her that hand gesture up, almost like raising that little nose to the sky, telling her sit in a firmer tone of voice. And then yes, good girl when she does it. Here she didn't do it, so I just ended up luring her just like that and telling her good girl. See, that time I did accidentally give the treat when she was batting at me. So of course it's a work in progress for me too, because sometimes I just don't forget. And sometimes I'm like, oh, you actually sat? Yes, good girl. Instead of, oh, you're not jumping at me. So at this lure stage, batting, I try and knock it out of the ballpark right now. Whereas when they're older down the road and they're still batting at you going into those sits, that's not what you want. So that's the main focus with our sits. And then our downs, she's doing very well. She does do the down right from the stand, just like that. Of course, sometimes it still takes work. She did just have lunch before this, so she wasn't super liking my treats, of course. But that's okay. Just keep working through it. And also, if we do, maybe next time when I film her video, I will skip like breakfast and do our training session as breakfast. That way you can see a little bit of her more in motivated action. So hopefully we'll do that. And hopefully we'll do kennel and weight commands next week and maybe some leash walking or something like that. But she is doing very well. I wanted to record her leash walking this week, but it wouldn't stop raining outside and it's kind of hard inside. But that will definitely be in next week's update. She's doing very well. She's super, super snuggly. Just overall such a sweet girl. She's very smart, very attentive, loves to be with you all the time, loves to play with toys. She loves plush toys and squeaky toys. She is just overall such a good little puppy and doing very well with her commands and all of her training. So that's this week's update, just a little bit update about her. I did just decide to voice it over, that way I can talk a little bit more about her over the top of some training as well, and not just all about sits and downs. So that's why I decided to voice it over, just so you can see or hear a little bit more about Maisie and how she's doing. She's doing very well in the crate. They get crated at nighttime, and then for a nap time during the day, does amazing for both. She is really just a sweet, sweet girl. And she also is doing very well with her recall. We've got some comments about that she's doing very well about it, so I wanted to include that as well. Just making sure I call her and then tell her, Maisie, come, after I already have her attention, and she does very, very well. So enjoy the rest of this video. In the last few parts, I'll have some clips of her on her field trip, as well as some pictures in her update of her on her field trip and her just in general. She is a super, super stunning girl and doing very well in the training program.